I'm testing drywall anchors from the cheap basic ones to some new expensive designs. Oh gosh! To see if they can hold up to the weight ratings they say they can. This could go horribly bad. Or if there's some that you should really avoid. I'm going to be testing the 3 most common drywall anchors you'll find at the home improvement store, as well as these drywall picture hangers that are supposed to be really amazing, but we'll find out. Now, these are all different in the operation as well as the price, going from just a few cents a piece all the way up to over $6 a piece. But first, let's see exactly what they are and how they work. Here's how the regular drywall anchors will work. So all you do with this one is you drill a hole into your wall. This one's a 1/4 inch. Then you can insert your anchor, tap it in place, and then drive in a screw. And on the back of it, it will expand to hold the screw in there and secure it into the drywall. This next anchor is a little more sophisticated. It's got these little wings on the side. This is the same size anchor as before, same hole, but when I put it in and drive the screw through, these little wings will open up and they suck up against the back of the drywall. Now this last anchor is one that you don't need any drills on it. So it has what looks to be these nice coarse threads and a pointy end here. So you can just push this into the drywall with your screwdriver and then you just screw it right into the drywall. And then once it's in there, it does the same thing. You put the screw in and those wings spread open. And this one will hold even more than the other 2. And lastly, we have these little picture hangers, which I'd actually never seen before until I saw them in a video by my buddy Nils over from Learn to DIY. And I wanted to check them out. So these just press right into the wall. Nothing fancy, but apparently they'll hold a lot of weight. Now that we know how they work, let's put it to some real world testing. Now, I have this prized possession, which is my autographed picture of Norm Abram, who obviously is the GOAT. So we're going to be hanging this up. I'm going to use each of the different types of anchors and see how long it takes me to give Norm a spot right on the wall. So the goal is to have the picture exactly aligned with the black line up there, which means I'm going to have to do some measuring to make sure that I place each of the different anchors in the right spot. All right, that was kind of what I expected. All 3 of the screw ins actually took the exact same amount of time. And I think the last 2 were actually down to the 100th of a second, which was amazing, but 54 seconds. I was a little surprised by the claw. It actually took 1 minute and 8 seconds. And that's because they have these little mounting, little triangle arrow deals here that you actually have to put on the back and then you place it. So I thought because I didn't have to measure, it was gonna be faster. But it really wasn't. Although it's not that much longer, so all in all, I don't think time's really a factor here. Now another thing to think about is when you take them out, what does it look like? Especially if you're a renter or you just like to move things around in your house a lot, how much repair are you gonna have to do to the walls? So I'm gonna go put Norm back in his place of honor and then we'll take these out. I will always remember to wear my safety glasses, Norm. Thank you. All right, so looking at the damage, the basic one, it's just a little 1/4 inch hole, not too bad. The wings, you get a little bit more fraying, but still not horrible. The screw in is definitely the most damage, but I still feel like you could easily fill that with wall putty and you'd be okay. And the claw, there's almost nothing there. You can fill that just super easy. You probably wouldn't even have to sand it afterwards. All right, now it's time to have a little fun. I went out and bought this little digital scale that measures loads when you put it on there, kind of like a little fishing scale, if you caught really big fish. So I'm gonna be testing these anchors and see how much they can hold. They're rated for 20 to 75 pounds. But I'm just looking at the screw-in ones, no toggle bolts or anything like that. But I did find this guy. This is just one of the screw-in ones, but it says it will hold 205 pounds. So later on in the video, we're gonna screw this in and see if it'll hold me. Now, the package ratings for these are all about shear load, which is just a downward force, which is basically the way you would use them. But I'm really curious to see how much it would take to pull them out. So we're going to test them out and see what happens. And I'm going to test the highest rated version I have versus the lowest rated version I have for each of these different types of anchors. All right, we're going to start off with the basic ones, and I've got the 20 pound and the 25 pound versions installed in here. All right, we're zeroed out. I'm going to get a nice close up of this, and I'm just going to pull it with my hand to start because, All right, let's see what happens. And I did clamp this down, so I hope the whole thing doesn't just hit me in the face. All right, here we go. Oh. I was kind of worried about that, but I think that's because of the small head on this one. All right, I put a little washer on here. Let's see if this can hold any more. We just have to totally change. All right, here we go. This is nerve-wracking. You know what? Most important safety rule is to wear these safety glasses. I'm just gonna give it, my goodness. All right, success, or failure. So looking at the replay, it looks like that was right about 38 pounds, but I may have been off a little bit, so Chris can put that right here. And that was almost twice as much as the shear rating on this one. I've got the 25 pounder in there. Let's see how she goes. 25 pound. Oh, that's pulling right out. What the heck? Woo! All right. Interesting. That felt a little lighter. So yeah, from what I saw, that one was only 36 pounds. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. Let's try the ones with the wings. I think those are going to perform way better. All right, for the winged version, this smaller one, which is a number 8 screw, will be rated for 35 pounds, and this larger one, which is a number 10 screw, is rated for 61 pounds. So quite a bit more than the others. Let's put them in and see what happens. All right, here is 35 pounds with the wings. Ooh, looks like I think the plastic's gonna give way first. Sure did. All right, we've got a washer now. Let's see if we can pull it out. Oh, geez. All right, that was kind of interesting because I was pulling, I saw it go up to about 43 pounds. And then as I started pulling again, it looks like the number kind of stopped for a minute and then went up. So I'm not sure if that was a bad reading, but maybe it's just this smaller version, but the wings didn't do as much as I thought they would. We got up to about 43 pounds. Let's try the bigger one. All right, now we're ready to go. Oh yeah, much harder. Oh, woo, that one held on nice. All right, now this is what I'm talking about, some real destruction. This thing just annihilated the drywall, and it looks like we got up to maybe 72 pounds. But I want to just really emphasize, I realize this is not a scientific approach. This is more like redneck backyard. I'm in Tennessee, you know. So if you want to do something scientific and get it exact, then try it on your own. All right, I'm gonna change this test setup for the next test. And also as we come into spring, it's a good reminder for me to do some maintenance around my house with the sponsor of today's video, WD-40 brand. Now, I'm sure you're all familiar with the WD-40 multi-use product, which is their original formula, but they have a whole selection of specialist products. I love using the specialist dry lube with PTFE to help quiet squeaky doors because it leaves a nice dry film there and no oily residue. And for heavier duty applications like my garage door, I like to use the white lithium grease. This is a great product for metal-on-metal high wear applications. Now around the shop, I like to go back to the specialist dry lube. Because it does have that dry film, it's not going to transfer any oils onto your projects or your woods. You can check the links down below in the description to pick up any of these products in the WD-40 Specialist lineup. A big thank you to WD-40 brand for sponsoring today's video. All right, let's jump into the screw type. We're going to start with the 50 pound. Or maybe not. Oh boy. Ah, whew. So looking at the camera, it looks like we had right about 52 pounds to pull that out. So right about the same rating as the shear force. Let's see what the 75 pounder does. I'm pretty worried about this one. All right, we were able to get just a little bit higher, and you might wonder why there's 2 holes. It's because I wasn't recording on the first one, so I had to record it again, but we got 57 pounds right around there on the 75 pound one. So I think what we're starting to see is, as you see these big rips in the drywall, the anchor is fully intact, and so now we're just having the force of pulling out the drywall. So I don't think we'll be able to go much over 60 pounds probably on any anchor that we use unless it gets really wide, so you're pulling out a bigger piece of drywall. Now the last one we have here is the claw, and I'm only putting the 25 pounder in here because I think this is just going to be an exercise in futility, but we'll try it and see what happens. All right, let's see if we can get any meaningful weight off of this at all. Oh, my clip flew off. I don't know how I'm gonna do this because it's just not made to be pulled on. I mean, it's already pulled out of the wall. It's just kind of hanging by a thread. Yeah. So looking at the camera, it looks like it didn't even make it to 5 pounds of pull-out force. So if you're looking to attach anything to the wall that'll have any kind of pulling on it at all, these claws, definitely not the right way to go. So for the pull-out strength test, it looks like they all have at least as much pull-out strength as they do for rated shear downward strength, until you get to the limits of the drywall, which seems to be around 55, 60 pounds of force. And another thing to mention, this is 1/2 inch ultra lightweight drywall. So this really should be probably the least amount of strength as you go up to 5/8, or if you go to the regular drywall, it'll probably have a lot better pullout because it's going to be more dense. All right, we're ready for the shear load testing, and I've got this guy zeroed out, but I'm going to start with the 20-pound basic anchor, and we're going to go straight to the max weight rating, which is 20 pounds, and go from there. And I'm just using my dumbbells because they're not getting much use these days, so here's 20 pounds. Looks like we're doing fine. I don't have 5-pound weights, so I'm going to have to do a little comboing here. And we'll do 2 7s and a 10 for 24 pounds. Do not try this at home. This is, this is a little sus. All right, 23.41. All right, here's 30 pounds. 27.24. I'm just gonna get a little crazy and just kind of add this on. It's probably a horrible idea, but I can hear it. It is bending quite substantially. 10. Oh yeah, it is totally bent down. All right, I've got 47-ish pounds here. This is gonna get a lot harder when the weight goes up. And it is hanging on by an absolute thread. 56, holy cow, how's that still staying on there? And, oh, there we go. I didn't see what that totally ended up with. And so for the 20-pound rating, we got right about 3 times that at 60, and the way that it failed was it just kind of pulled out, and it was really starting to fail around 40 pounds, and then totally let go right around 60. But I've got the 25-pound number 14 screw in there now. Let's see how this one does. I need to do some more deadlifts. When I mean more, I mean any. Let's get right-handed. Oh gosh. Oh boy. Okay. Whew. Oh my gosh, get on there. Oh wow. Oh wow. Why does that say 27? All right, this says 27 and a half, but clearly that is 60 pounds. And that's about to pull through at any second. We're gonna add another 7 pounds and see if that does it. No. So this would be 70 pounds. Now 80 pounds. I mean, this is barely hanging on there. All right, let's just push it over the edge. I mean, I gotta hand it to it. It's still holding it. All right, 94 pounds, and then I don't know what we'll do. All right, I'm calling it here at 94 pounds because it is like, it's basically out. All right, so I figured out what was going on, and I should have realized this, but it had switched over to kilograms. So what, 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds? So yeah, it ended up right around 95 pounds, and for all my European friends, we had it in kilograms. We're switching back to pounds for the next one. Almost try to pin that carabiner there. So you definitely are not going to get your full holding power unless you drive the screw all the way in for the winged ones. Let's see what it does. All right, for this one, we're going to start off with 50. Honestly, just so I have more room to stack stuff. I'm assuming that's going to hold. Oh, wow. That is deforming a lot already. So that's 56 pounds. I don't know where we got the 5 extra pounds from. Maybe because this scale was cheap. All right, 62, 63 pounds, 70 pounds. Let's just go straight to 80. All right, 80 is the breaking point. All right, now this is pretty interesting. The wing part actually is the part that failed. And it just pulled out just like the other basic ones. All right, we've got the 61 pounder. We're gonna start straight off with 60 pounds. Again, that is already starting to pull through. I think there's really an issue when you don't have the screw pulled all the way in so that the wings are against the wall. All right, 82, holding strong. Let's go 90. 100, I can definitely hear some creaking. Whoa. So even though this didn't come out of the wall, I'm calling that a failure because we're past 45 degrees. Basically, anything you have on here is going to start falling off. All right, now we're going to test the screw-in anchors. And honestly, I've never really liked these. I don't know why, they just always kind of seem cheap to me for some reason. But they've been turning out to be the best ones yet, so let's see how much they can hold. We're gonna go right to 60 pounds. Already starting to pull out a bit. All right, we're gonna go up by 10, 70. Oh gosh, that's gonna go. Let's go 77. Whoa! All right, I did not see that coming. So this failed in less than 70 pounds. I'm surprised because it did so well at the straight pull-out strength, and then on the shear strength, it almost just like it levered out. Let's see what happens with the 75-pounder. All right, we'll start again with 60 pounds, which should be easily held. That is already pulling out. All right, 61 pounds, 87, and we're gone. Wow. I again forgot to turn on the close-up camera, but that's okay because I want to put another one in so we can get the close-up. And I want to show you something in the back that I think I'm picking up on that might be causing the lower rating on these. So check this out. Because I have not put the screw all the way in, it's not really separating a whole lot. I'm going to drive another one right underneath it and put the screw all the way in so we can compare it. So it's a little bit hard to tell, but this bottom one that I screwed the screw all the way in is really opened up quite a bit more than the other one. And I think that's why it performed so well in the pull-out test, because the screw was fully engaged. And when you don't have the screw fully engaged, it just doesn't spread out the back of the anchor as much. So, kind of makes sense. So these little screw-in guys did not do very well at all. They're barely meeting their weight ratings that they're even stating, let alone doubling or tripling them. It really has me concerned about that one that's going to hold up my body weight. All right, now we're going to check out the claw. And the reason I'm really interested in this one is because of the way that the arc goes. Let's check it out. All right, we're going to start off straight at 30 because, you know, give it an extra 5 pounds. It should be able to take it. Oh, so that hook is already starting to bend the metal part. So the weakest part might actually be the metal. Why don't we just go up 7? Let's go 40. That is definitely pulling out. All right, so that did just pull out. It was not the metal that failed. And the way that these were being talked about, I thought these were going to perform way better. But it does exceed the weight rating they say, so I guess you can't blame them. But I do have a big one that is 65 pounds. Let's go there. All right, so this guy's kind of wild. I just opened up. It's actually articulated. It looks like a little nanobot or something. My kids used the hex bots, something like that. Let's try it out. All right, let's get our little scale up here, which just fits on there. We are on kilograms. I think every time it falls, it just goes metric. You know, hit in the head, go metric. All right, we will start with 60 pounds. Oh my gosh, that is about to pull off. That's not even gonna take it. Oh gosh! The hook bent right off. That's not cool. I think part of the issue is the size of the carabiner and the thickness of the metal bar here, because as I put it on, all of that weight and stress was going right at the tip of the little hook. And I think really for it to have a lot of weight, it wants that weight to be down at the bottom. So I went ahead and switched out the carabiner with just a little piece of this paracord. So now we're right down there at the base. We'll see if that helps it at all. All right, let's try this again at 60 pounds. Man, I'm not standing next to that thing. Okay, let's go 70. All right, we're just gonna keep going up by 10s. 85, it's creaking for 7 more. So we're at 91 pounds, kind of unnerving. Oh, here we go. So we're right at 100 pounds and it's just tearing through the drywall. We're just gonna sit here and watch this because this will fail. Here he goes. Redemption. All right, so same thing with the claw. Actually, this looks like it is intact completely, and it was just the drywall that failed. So thing to note is that weight rating, you have to make sure that weight is all getting carried at the bottom of the hook. I told you about this heavy-duty drywall anchor that I saw, and it's this guy right here. I'm just calling it the Beast because it says it will take 205 pounds. But before we get into that, just looking at the other four and how they stacked up, I would go with either the basic or the screw-ins because they are the least expensive and they performed really well. And the basic did the best just because it outperformed its ratings so much. The winged anchors did perform well, but not that much better than the other two for costing twice as much, so I just wouldn't go with those. And as for the claw, that one costs 10 times as much as the others. I would not recommend the claw unless you're doing a lot of moving around of pictures. It's just not worth it in my opinion because they all take about the same time. But now we're going to put this beast of a drywall anchor to the test, and apparently these little blue things come out like crazy claws. So as I was pulling this out, it says 205 pounds in 5/8 of an inch drywall. In 1/2 inch drywall, it's only 130 pounds. I'm definitely more than 130 pounds. So we'll see how much weight it can take. All right. Oh, I think I spun it out. There we go. Now as I screw it in, those little wings should deploy on the back. We'll go ahead and do 4. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's tight. Okay. All right, we've got the camera on here, so we should be able to see the weight if this fails, when it fails, before I get up. All right, I'm just gonna start standing up. I hope this thing doesn't crack me in the knee. Maybe I can pull myself up here. All right, there goes 50, 60, 80, oh gosh, 90, 100, oh gosh. I don't know if I can balance. What are we up to, 120, 130? Oh, it's going, it's going. Oh! That did pretty good. Well, that's a nice size hole in that drywall. Can't quite hold a human, maybe a small human. I've got another video where I tested MDF versus plywood. You can check it out right there. A big thank you to the FTBT Builders Club. I'm Brad. Until next time, get out there and build something awesome.